Europe is full of some fantastic world-class theme parks, and we've had the wonderful opportunity of visiting many of them. I think you've been to 45 and I've been to 50. So what we're gonna do today is rank our 25 favorites. And I feel like this is actually like pretty difficult because
oh my God, yeah.
some of these are like very different from each other. It's like hard to compare.
Yeah, it's like how do you compare like Efteling to Energylandia? It's
I know.
Really hard, but we're gonna try.
So let's kick things off with our number 25 spot with Movie Park Germany.
I think this one gets too much hatred.
I definitely agree.
Get it.
Yeah, I thought it was like a really fun, like Warner Brothers style park with some good themes, and I thought that the theming actually was like relatively well done.
Oh yeah, I think so too. And I mean, we did like some of like the shows and stuff, and I liked those a lot. I mean, they definitely need like a better standout coaster.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I enjoyed my experience.
I think I went in with lower expectations because I had heard from people who had those not so great experiences.
So maybe it's a good thing that people say crap about it then.
Yeah.
You'll like it better than you thought. Next one on the list at our 24th spot is probably one of the quirkiest parks out there, and that's Wallaby Holland.
I like this place a lot. It is so cool. So they obviously have like 3 pretty great roller coasters there with Untamed as their signature headliner and then Goliath and Lost Gravity. But when you're walking around, this atmosphere is just very strange, especially the area around like Lost Gravity and everything. It's so cool.
Yeah, but the details that they put into things is what really makes it special. I mean, like, you're talking, like, you walk into a bathroom and it turns into, like, a party.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
what
yeah.
is this?
It's great. And we also have to give a special shout out to Wallaby Holland because they play the Coasting Through Europe soundtrack and the Coaster Studios music at the end of the video.
I thought for sure you were about to flip backward in the chair.
Nope.
That would have been good comedy for this, though.
Next up is our first Merlin theme park. This is Gardaland in North Italy. And this is actually one of the few parks on here that you have not visited. But
I'll take a nap, it's okay.
I enjoyed this place. This was really cool. So they have 2 signature B&Ms with Oblivion, the Black Hole, and Raptor. Raptor's the first wing coaster. They have the stereotypical Western land that we have at most European theme parks.
I was gonna say, let's be real, they all do.
Yeah, Movie Park
Pretty
Germany
much.
has one, and a bunch more that we're about to talk about also have one. You'll notice the trend with a lot of these European theme parks is many of them choose to spend a lot of their money on like actually doing up the
atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly. Versus spending it on a huge towering thrill ride, which is what a lot of the parks in the US do.
Gotta break records, baby!
I know. That's one of the big differences between US parks and European theme parks. So Garland doesn't have the tallest or fastest rides out there, but the vibes are pretty good.
For the next one, I'm just gonna go ahead and do a little pointing mechanism here.
Hey, I like this place.
Boom!
That's why I bought a shirt from it.
Number 22, Park Warden Madrid.
So I actually visited this park back in 2018. It was the first European theme park I ever visited to, and I had a good time. But after we went in 2023, that just made this park like shoot up in my rankings. Like originally, I don't know if I would have put this park in my top 25, but man, we had a great visit.
I'm sure Gotham City Escape has absolutely nothing to do
No, nothing to do with that at all.
But for real though, that is like an insanely awesome signature ride. And you know what? I think sometimes that's what you need. Like I think, you know, of like Movie Park Germany, like we were just talking about, if they were to take Bandit and like RMC the thing, I think it would put this park on a different level.
Well, sure.
Sometimes you just need that thing that's like, I have to go back for that. Because right now, like I think of Movie Park Germany, there's nothing there and I'm like, I'm dying to go back for it.
Yeah.
I would die to go back and ride Gotham City Escape again.
Yeah, absolutely. And like all the different themed areas in Parque Warner are so nice. Again, this is one of the like several Warner Brothers style parks that you get around the world. And I thought that this one was just like really, really well done. Although during our most recent visit, it was like almost like 100 degrees out. And so I did think I was going to die, but
You know, ignore that.
worth it. We mentioned Wallaby Holland earlier. Up next is Wallaby Belgium. So this was the original Wallaby Park, and it was also our favorite Wallaby Park. This place was great.
So obviously the big standout attraction there is Conda, which is relatively new.
And this place is huge. If you want to walk from the front of the park to the back where Conda is, it's a hike, but you pass through some really nice areas. There's a lake, you have that exotic island section where Tiki Waka is, very lush and green. It's so nice. Like everything just looks bright and colorful here.
Yeah, I think the Wallaby Parks really, really put a lot of effort into making things nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but they also pair it with really awesome rides too. So it's kind of not like an either or situation. Like we were talking about earlier, like they have everything.
And being in a great location right near Brussels, and they're planning another roller coaster. It looks to be like a Gerstlauer family coaster. This is definitely a park that I look forward to going back to.
So at our number 20 spot, this one's a little weird, and there was a part of both of us that questioned even including it because, like, is it really a theme park? That's Colmartin, which at the end of the day is a zoo, but it has rides.
There's several zoos out there that have roller coasters, but not like what Colmartin has. They have a massive RMC. So this is south of Stockholm in Sweden, and
Kind of annoying to get to.
Yeah, not the most convenient, but this place is enormous. To get to Wildfire from the front entrance is like a 20-minute walk. Beautiful animal exhibits.
Oh yeah, it's really, really nice. I wish we'd had more time to explore the zoo part of everything. We were there on a day that was like really not nice weather, so the sky ride we didn't really get to see much. But the park is like just beautiful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the first time I went to Colmar, it was actually blue skies. And the thing that I love so much is like when you're at the top of Wildfire, you can look out and just see how stunning the location this park is in. You have the water right there. Again, these trees are just like beautiful, and all the different attractions that they offer are really, really nice. Best zoo ever. At the number 19 spot, we're heading to North Germany for Hansa Park, and this is a really cool place. I've been here, Sarah has not. I loved it for Carnan, but she's avoiding spoilers, so we're not going to talk about that ride. But that is the signature ride of this park. They also have a Flug von Novgorod, which is another great Gerstlauer coaster, so really cool, like quirky place. This park actually used to be a Legoland, so that's like one of the weird like oddball things about it is that they were able to like transform it into like what it is now. Really pretty, very well thought out park.
Number 18 on our list takes us to the heart of Copenhagen, literally right across the street from the main train station, and that's Tivoli Gardens.
This is one of the world's oldest theme parks, and it is just packed with charm, and it's not a super big property. Again, you have like city blocks all the way around it.
The garden part of it is very, very much true. It's
aptly named.
Filled, yes, it is filled with greenery and flowers and like lakes and ponds. It's basically think of like a botanical garden. Yeah, but with a couple roller coasters and rides thrown in. But everything that's there is very like purposeful and done very well. Like there's no crap thrown in. Like it's very nice.
Exactly. Yeah, because they have a limited amount of space to work with. Our favorite attraction here is Rutschbahn, and this was the ride that inspired the Matterhorn, like at Disneyland. So that's how old this ride is. It's one of the oldest in the world. It still is
so good.
Great. It's a brakeman operated wind roller coaster. There's also a B&M here called Daemonen, which is pretty fun. One of the shorter like B&M coasters out there, but I thoroughly enjoyed this place.
Absolutely.
And number 17, let's move on to yet another Merlin park, this one, Heide Park. And this place is actually like super pretty, really, really nice place. It's a shame because unfortunately when I went, I did not get to experience their massive wind roller coaster, which is like El Toro. That definitely like impacted the day, but it wasn't enough to like detract from the rest of the park. So that's why it's still as high as it is. Well, it's got this beautiful lake right here in the center and some really nicely themed areas too.
At number 16, we have a park that is all the way in Finland, and that is Linnanmäki.
This is an interesting one because this is not a highly themed park like a lot of the others that we've talked about, but it's still really nice. It's almost got more of like a permanent carnival kind of vibe, but really, really nice.
Reminded me of Grenoland.
Yeah, a little bit like Grenoland, yeah. But it's located on a hillside, so everything uses the terrain. Taiga is the signature roller coaster there, and this one is also really, really close to like the rest of Helsinki. So the location is really nice. And
we walked there. So.
Yeah, exactly. Even though it's all the way up north, it's still pretty accessible once you're actually in Helsinki. Which brings us to our top 15. And this next one is one of the more recent European theme parks that we got to visit for the first time. It's Nigloland in France.
This park is kinda trying to be Disney.
And it's also trying to be Europa Park, like a lot of mock roller coasters.
Yeah, they have like their own version of Space Mountain. They have their own version of the Mark Twain boat, the Jungle Cruise, the Country Bears.
Niglo Show. Yeah.
And a bunch of other stuff.
But it was really, really cool. It's like a 2-hour drive from where we were in Paris, just like in the countryside. And it was just this beautiful setting. Everything was really well kept. So there was a lot of attention to detail in this place. More of a family park, but just the atmosphere and the environment was just fantastic.
It's just a very, very pretty park.
A lot of trees everywhere. It's a lot bigger than you'd probably think too.
At number 14, we're heading back to the Netherlands, and this is Toverland, which is one of just the most beautiful parks out there.
Stunning. And they're also like really up and coming. They've been expanding at a really great rate.
Well, did you say it's like doubled in size?
Oh, yeah. So I first visited in 2018 and the park was fine. You know, they have this big indoor area, which used to be the front entrance of the park. And it was really nice and everything. And then after I visited, they added Avalon and Port Laguna, which is this new entrance, and the expansion that they did to this place is incredible. The park was almost unrecognizable, and it seems like they keep moving in that upwards trajectory.
Yeah. Their B&M Wind Coaster Phoenix was really, really nice.
Greatly themed.
Yep. Their Wooden Coaster Troy was not great.
Just running a little rough.
It was a little rough. And we did their indoor log flume like multiple times. It had like backward sections and stuff. Like, I don't even know what was going on.
A turntable on a lift hill. It was really cool. Yeah.
Very weird.
I like that flume a lot. This is a park that I can't wait to return to in a couple of years because I know that they're just going to keep growing and it's going to be really cool to see. And at 13, we have what I consider to be one of Europe's like hidden gems as far as theme parks go. It's Tripsdrill in Germany.
What a weird, quirky place.
Literally. Maybe the weirdest park on this list. I don't know, that has a lot of personality to it.
Where's Bon Bon Land?
No, Bon Bon Land unfortunately did not make the cut. Actually, no, it's at the number 1 spot, but we haven't gotten there yet. Tripsdrill is great. I think that park is just so stunning.
It's very pretty. It's got a lot of big, like, open areas, like big, wide open fields. I'm thinking specifically about the area by, like, Carajo, where there's, like, this big open area, and then you have the roller coaster, and there's, like, a castle back there somewhere that's, like, actually a real castle.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you have a bunch of really weird rides. Like, you have the bathtub log flume with all the naked people. You have, when you get off Carajo, you have the guy, like, vomiting in a bucket. All kinds of weird decor when you walk in. Like,
yeah.
And How's Zuberkoff in that area, that was really fun.
Yeah, that's the new Vekoma STC.
It was really fun. I would have definitely spent more time there.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't miss this place.
At the number 12 spot is a park that I feel like we mainly talk about because of its headlining coaster, but it's actually a really, really great park, which is why it made the list, and that's Plopsaland Japan.
The park really is quite nice. Like, it's definitely a lot more family-oriented. Ride Happiness is really the only, like, extreme roller coaster there, but they do have a fun Gerstlauer launch coaster, very similar to Daredevil Dive at Six Flags Over Georgia.
They have a White Lightning clone.
Yep, that one's good. And they got this really nice, like, Viking-themed land. That was really cool.
That we didn't know existed the first time.
I know. Yeah, so somehow missed that.
How did we miss that?
It's largely themed to a television network in Belgium, and so that's where, like, a lot of the characters come from, which is funny because, like, we don't connect to these characters at all.
Doesn't matter, though.
We still had a great time.
Yeah, even, like, you know, for the few minutes that they were able to drag me away from, like, the Ride to Happiness area, I had a great time. Great park.
And just barely missing the top 10 is a park that is a big fan favorite in Europe. It is Efteling. Now, before people get on us for saying, I can't believe you don't have Efteling higher, I'd just like to point out the first time I visited Europe and did Efteling, I had it a lot lower. But after our most recent visit, I really had a great time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful park. The rides are not, like, overly extreme or anything, but I don't really think they need to be. Everything there that they have is, like, extremely well done, though. Like, Symbolica, for example. Really well done dark ride. Baron, it's a dive coaster. It's a simple one, but it's very well done. Like, they dress everything up very well.
Yeah. So I'd say the fact that the roller coasters aren't better is definitely, like, holding it back from why we haven't placed it higher. Because the next parks that we'll talk about, I feel like have a better balance between, like, still really great theming and atmosphere, but also some, like, rides that just, like, really deliver. But I'll say Efteling has one of the best dark ride collections in Europe. It's pretty much that in Disneyland Paris, as far as I'm concerned. The next one's an interesting one. I feel like this was actually a really tough one to place.
Yeah, it's really hard, because, like, okay, we're going to call this the Tale of Two Parks. Before I say what it is, you'll probably figure it out, though. So there's one part of the park that is beautiful, very well themed, very organized, tells a clear message of what each area is supposed to be. And then there's the other side of the park, where it looks like someone went dumpster diving from, like, an old, or went through, like, a mini golf course that was abandoned and took all the statues and stuff, and was like, we're just gonna throw this all over the place and just hope something sticks.
And thus is born Energylandia. What a place. I like the back half of the park a lot. I like their roller coasters, the main ones. They definitely have some that are unnecessary and the park could do without.
Yeah, they're like, oh, well, we have a family boomerang, but, like, why not two?
I feel like this park is in a very odd state because it's actually a relatively new location. I believe it opened in 2014.
Which is crazy, considering how big it is.
Yeah, so we're looking at 10 years old, and they have just expanded at an insane rate. They have just a huge collection of rides, but not all of it is quality. The back half, the newer editions, are quality.
Like the area by Abyssus, beautiful. The area around Zadra, beautiful.
Yeah.
But, like, okay, the area around everything else. No, not everything else, but a lot of areas. You know, you see knockoff versions of characters. Like, I'm like, Marty, is that you? Like, from Madagascar? I'm like, what is going on?
Literally. So that's why this park isn't higher up, but also because there are so many things this park does really well, we have to acknowledge it for that. Like, I also thought the park had just like fantastic operations, and like they were very well organized in the way that they handled like loose articles and everything. Just like
crowd control.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that I feel like a lot of parks. Too. Yeah, the parks could really benefit from what Energylandia is doing. So that's why it's a tough one to place.
And just like the aggressive growth, like
it's cool.
You know, it comes down to budget. Like, clearly they have the money to do it.
Yeah.
But good for them, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's gonna keep getting better, I hope.
At number 9, we have a park that is much, much smaller, but just the vibes and just like as you're walking around, it is so freaking cool. It's Far Up Summerland, all the way at the top of Denmark.
So yeah, this one is really cool because it's kind of in a forest. Mm-hmm. You walk around for a while and you're like, where's the theme park?
You don't really see anything. Like you have some views when you park, but as you're walking among the pathways, it's like, where are we going? Well, I don't really know.
Yeah, you're like, we'll end up somewhere eventually. Like, they have a pretty sizable Vekoma there, and you don't even see it for, like, a really long time when you're walking
And it's
around.
really good, too. I love just walking around and discovering all the little things to do, like little obstacle courses. We were saying when we were there that they have a lot of activities that you wouldn't typically find at, like, U.S. theme parks. So I think that's why we, as Americans, probably got more enjoyment out of this than maybe, like, the average European.
Oh, we were definitely more enthralled with it than someone who, you know, is more used to that stuff. But for us, we're like, wow.
We're like, this place
is awesome.
Wow, yeah, this is really unique and cool. So I would definitely go back there. I wish it was in a more convenient location.
Well, you don't like driving to the very top of Denmark?
Yeah.
Our number 8 is going to go to Disneyland Paris, which combines all of these things we've talked about as far as like beauty, right? And then it also combines it with whimsical, right? And it's like a dreamland there.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this park. And I feel like, you know, we have it at the number 8 spot. This one is kind of like Energylandia in a way where it's kind of tough to place because one...
It was easy for me.
Here's the thing. They have a much bigger budget than a lot of these other parks. You know, they have Disney backing them. They're bringing these like common intellectual properties that a lot of these other parks also can't bring to the table. And it's also formulaic, and they're bringing all these different lands that we've seen at other parks around. But it's how they bundle it together into this one package experience that you walk in and you're like, this is just amazing.
I mean, the first thing you see when you walk in is the castle, and the castle is like easily the best one out of all the Disney parks.
Yeah.
And every land that you go to, like, they put extra love and care into the way these things look. Like, when they built this park, they were like, well, Europeans have like a heightened sense of like class and elegance and beauty, you know, that maybe doesn't exist quite as much in America.
Well, they're used to seeing a lot more castles than we are.
Exactly. So they're like, okay, how do we impress people in a world where they see beautiful things all the time? And they're like, okay, we have to go to the next level. And they did. Like, every inch of that park is freaking gorgeous.
Yeah, from start to finish, it's just an incredible experience. And much, much better than the park next door, which, spoiler alert, Walt Disney Studios does not make this list. Not even close.
Oh, I had it down as number you know.
Located in Gothenburg, Sweden, our number 7 park is the incredible Liseberg. This is the last park on this list that you have yet to experience.
There's not that many of them. I give myself credit. There's only like 4?
Oh yeah, 4 or 5, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But you've done a lot of really good ones. This is probably the best one that you are missing. Beautiful landscaping, some really nice signature attractions. Helix is the main one here, just up on the hillside. Unreal location for a roller coaster. And just the views as you're walking along the park, not an inch went untouched. It's incredible. The park is not like the biggest, but it's really becoming like a full-blown resort. Since I last visited, they opened Valkyria, Luna, which is a Vekoma boomerang. They also have the new hotel, and they're debuting an indoor water park. It is just like crazy to see how much this park is growing.
At the number 6 spot, we have another Denmark park that somehow was even better than Far Up Summerland, and that's Djurs Summerland.
Dude, these Denmark parks are like awesome. That country just has some just really nice stuff that I think really flew under our radar before we visited.
Yeah.
Djurs Summerland especially just delivered. Very thematic in this different areas that you can explore.
Literally, I'm thinking Piraten and all of the employees are like carrying around swords.
I know. Yeah, just little details like that
It's so great.
are great. Juvalin is their Intamin, like, family multi-launch coaster that is just way too good for no reason at all.
I liked the dinosaur area. Like, I know that was technically for kids, but I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. And much like Far Up Summerland, they also have a lot of just like really cool hidden gems and things that you can experience. Like we went canoeing at Jura Summerland.
Yeah, we were next to the Gersauer bobsled.
And we're just like
canoeing.
paddling along. Like, wow, you wouldn't get this in the United States. It's awesome. That place is great. Which brings us to our top 5. And much like how you pointed to Parque Warner for my shirt, I will gesture to yours.
So I got to do my first visit to Alton Towers this past summer. They have a really awesome overarching theme of just darkness.
It's great.
I'm
It
like,
is so cool.
Okay, I see you guys got a little like goth heart going on here.
Everything's so intense, but like it's all located in this central area where you have these beautiful gardens and the park is enormous. This is probably the biggest park on this list in terms of land. Energylandia is huge, Efteling is huge, but Alton Towers, it takes you so long to go from one side of the park to the other.
Yeah, you have to walk through an entire like botanical garden and it's huge.
Yeah, it's either that or take the Sky Ride, which conveniently was not open for us.
That's okay, I liked the walk.
We walk.
But like every theme is like solid from beginning to end. They have really cool non-roller coaster rides, which I think also helps because I'm kind of like a full package person. I think they could even do more in that area, but for what they have right now,
Yeah.
it's like just...
I feel like Nemesis Subterra was like the hidden gem of our visit. That was the one that like we didn't expect to be as cool as it actually was.
Yeah.
That was a full-blown experience.
Yeah, that was very, very cool.
I love Alton Towers. I wish it was in a more convenient location. It's kind of a
It's
pain
really
to get
not.
to.
I feel like a lot of times that's how it is. Like the really nice places are like, oh, you gotta work.
You gotta work to
here.
get there.
So surprisingly, we did not pick Disneyland Paris as the best park in France. We actually ended up picking a park that is maybe an hour up the road, and that's Parc Asterix.
I was floored by this place. I had heard good things, but I didn't expect it to be this good.
So the characters of the park are based on a comic series that is very popular in Europe, but we didn't know anything about.
No, not at all. But we got better. In between our first visit and our most recent one, we educated ourselves. We knew not to call Asterix Thor's brother.
I'm not gonna call Obelix Diaper Man anymore.
In our most recent visit, we also got to explore the brand new Festival of Toutatis home to the Toutatis roller coaster, which was like really the anchor that they needed. Like the park was already wonderful beforehand, but now that you have that, plus Osiris and Tenere de Zeus, this is just really stacked.
They've got a really good lineup. The one thing I would love to see is like a really good dark ride at that park.
Yeah.
That's like the one hole that it has right now, but it's like overall, like you go there and one day is like not even enough to like just kind of soak everything. And there's just so much to do.
Well, and honestly, as we get into these like top parks, I would recommend more than one day for all of them.
Yeah, that's
like you
true.
could do 2 days at Liseberg, 2 days at Disneyland Paris. Alton Towers, you definitely do because their hours are like garbage.
Yeah, and it takes you like an hour to walk from one side of the park to the other. That's 1 hour gone already.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, invest in time when you visit these places. And that is especially the case for the Europa Park Resort. There is so much to see and do here. This property, like Alton Towers, is huge. To get from the front all the way to like Woden, it's a hike.
We would not have accomplished everything in one day at all because
No.
there's so much to do. It's like kind of on par with visiting a Disney park where you're like, there's tons of dark rides, there's tons of roller coasters, there's tons of food you want to try, there's tons of little just like nooks that you want to just check out. And suddenly the day's over and you're like, crap. So
Yeah.
2 days at least.
Yeah, but I really liked what Europa Park did. At times I was saying, man, they're doing some of these things better than Disney, which is like really impressive to see when, you know, obviously Disney came first all the way back with Disneyland. And so it is just awesome to see how they were able to combine so many different attractions into many different themed areas. Everything's like based around the different countries that you would find. And so just the detail and everything.
And it's going to get even better because they're opening up the new Croatia section. It's going to have Voltron, which is probably going to be their new standout roller coaster. I'd be shocked if it wasn't.
That was the thing with Europa Park before, is I was like, you know, they have some really great rides, but I felt like they were lacking that just really punchy, like, whoa experience. And it seems like Voltron is going to be that.
At the number 2 spot, we have what was like kind of my first real international theme park. I guess I did do Tibidabo.
I would say number 2, Tibidabo.
No one insult Tibidabo, but that was like a little bit of like a smaller thing. This is like a full-fledged park, and that's Portaventura.
Oh man, this place is so freaking cool. Yeah, it's a full resort. So they also have Ferrari Land right next door. They're home to just some amazing roller coasters and have a really great balance between delivering on those experiences and also combining them with just like these really grand, highly themed areas.
I don't know how they figured out sightline so well, but like I'm specifically thinking when you're walking down one pathway and it's like you have Shambhala and Dragon Con just like all over, and it's just like this beautiful mess of track, and the sun's going down, and it's just like so beautiful.
Cue all of our executive producers on the Patreon
Stop,
exit
literally. That is
screen.
literally that shot that I'm thinking of right now is literally our outro right now.
There's a reason it's the outro. It's that
so
good.
Nice. They also just have really nice themed areas that are themed around like, you know, different cultures. So you have like Mexico, you have like a China section, you have a Polynesian section, so on and so forth. And then for the kids, they have a Sesame Street dark ride, which we did not get to do, but I really wish we did.
Yeah. When we went, it was especially busy. But hey, it warrants going back. We still have not done Uncharted. So at some point, we'll have to check that out. And maybe next time we visit, it'll be Universal's Portaventura.
Stop. That's so weird.
Yeah, that's how you know that the park is good, when Universal's like...
We'll take it.
Yes. So this one really does deserve the number 2 spot. But as great as it is not, in our opinion, Europe's best theme park. And I feel like this one should not come as that big of a surprise. It's Schwaben Park and the Chicken Coaster. No, we're kidding. It's Phantasialand!
Wait, you were joking? I really thought it was Schwaben Park.
Schwaben Park gets honorable mention. You want incredible world-class theming with incredible world-class roller coasters. Everything in this park is like the best it can be. And it's just on a scale that is unreal.
Like, everyone who works at Phantasialand should, like, teach a course on, like, how to theme park.
Because they theme park good.
They do.
I always joke and say that Phantasialand is, like, the biggest small park you'll ever visit. Because this one is actually, like, not super big when it comes to land. However, they pack in so much. There is not an inch that went unused. Everything is so intentional, purposeful.
Yeah, literally, they're like, we don't have that much room, so we'll just build a roller coaster that's like up above you the entire time, where there's like nothing on the ground with fly.
And even the on-site hotels are integrated into the park. So when you're in the Africa section, you're looking at Hotel Matamba, and then you can stay in the Charles Lindbergh Hotel, which has got fly going all around you. It's just an experience that you can't get anywhere else in the world. It's incredible.
Yeah, I personally would tell people if they had one opportunity to visit one theme park in Europe, like they're like, oh, I'm on a family trip and they only want to do one park. This is the one to pick.
Yes.
Because especially if you're a coaster enthusiast and a regular theme park enthusiast, you really do get both. Because you have Terran and Fly, which are both like fantastic. Black Mamba's fantastic. But then you have like one of the best log flumes in the world. You have one of the best mine trains in the world. Everything there, like the food's incredible. Like it's pretty much like as good as you can get as a theme park.
You know how when you visit some parks and it's like, oh, we don't need to ride everything. Like we can just, pick and choose. No, at Phantasialand, you need to ride everything.
And you need to stay on site. It's like next level awesome. And like I know it's expensive, but like shell out for it and spend cheap other places. That's what we did.
It is so worth it. So those are our 25 favorite European parks. Couple shout outs. We gotta mention Paulton's Park. That place is great.
Yeah, that's primarily like a kids park, but it's like the nicest kids park ever.
Yeah. And also nearby over in London, Chessington World of Adventures. That was really, really nice. We had a great time there.
Yeah, I would like to shout out Wallaby Rhone Alps. You mentioned some of the other Wallaby parks, and I think that this one probably would have been 26 out of this like list.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, like the theming is next level there. Like, and maybe they don't have like the most amazing roller coasters, and they don't really have like dark rides and stuff. So that's probably why it didn't make you know the top 25. But like what it does have is like done exceptionally well.
Also, Mirbalandia in Italy is a really cool, quirky theme park. Definitely a good time.
And the last one is Gröna in Sweden, which the only time I visited was around Halloween time. So I got like a unique experience there with all that. It almost reminds me of like a game where you're like, okay, I have like this tiny little bit of space. Like how much can I possibly just stack on top of each other?
Yeah, that's another one that probably just like barely missed the top 25 because it's still, that's a really cool atmosphere. There's so much to see and do there in a really tight space and an incredible location literally in the heart of Stockholm. There's nothing else really quite like it.
So the bottom line is there are a lot of really good theme parks in Europe.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we still didn't even mention all of them. I mean, there's still plenty of places that we need to visit, but we've at least visited probably the biggest, like, most memorable locations, but there's still a lot of, like, hidden gems and places that we'd like to check out one day. So let us know down in the comments below, what are your favorite theme parks in Europe, if you've had the opportunity to visit any, if you agree with the points that we brought up, if you think there's anything we left out. I know everyone's going to talk about Blackpool Pleasure Beach, sorry. And stay tuned for more here at Coaster Studios. We'll see you next time.